Thank you very much.
Invite Shri Suparno Satpathy to the stage to give his inaugural speech. Suparno Satpathy is the grandson of legendary Srimati Nandini Satpathy, the First Lady Chief Minister of Odisha. He is the chairman of Srimati Nandini Satpathy Memorial Trust, a leading non-profit social cause organization. From 2007 till 2012, he held the office of Governor, PMSA Odisha, MOPR Government of India. Please invite him.
It's an honor being here in Thailand on this day and being with all of you who practically or for reasons are just an extended family of ours. And anybody connected with NETAJi, with this movement, is always connected wherever they are in the world, whichever part they are in the world, so they are always connected. I have come from a piece of land, I've come from a part of the world where NETAJi was born. I've come from Cuttack. And we have few friends here who are also from Cuttack. Now everybody says that Cuttack is a birthplace of NETAJi. Now, which I, as per my understanding, a birthplace is something which has shaped you up. It's not just biological birth. It's the school of thought which was created, the school of thought one belongs to. That is what Cuttack is. NETAJi's primary schooling was in Cuttack. Each one of us sitting here or anyone listening to us on video or later on or wherever, we are what we consume, whether it is the thought, whether it is an idea, whether it is the food, whether it is the environment, whether it is your peers, your friends, your family. Each one of us is a composition of all these things put together. And NETAJi, as a person, as a persona, was created in Cuttack. Cuttack is the place, or rather Orissa is the place, where the Paiko Bidroh started, which was against the British. And it's not against the British, it is against oppression. Not that the Britishers were ruling and they were sitting in India or whatever, but it is against oppression. And that is the school of thought which NETAJi belongs to. Everybody talks about NETAJi, but nobody talks about his primary school teacher who actually ignited the idea of the country being free and the nation going forward to a particular way and for the growth of the nation. I'm talking about Beni Madhav Babu. We need to remember him because he is the one who actually ignited the whole idea. I'm very fortunate that I am born into a family where my ancestors have given their life or who have given their balidan for the independence of this country. The place where NETAJi was born is just about 2.5 kilometers away from where we operate from right now. It's a small little place. It's called Nain Pithapur. It's a small little, 3 rooms or 4 rooms out there. That used to be a thatched roof house built in 1902. And my great-grandfather's father, Swapneshwar Panigrahi, was one of the best friends of Janaki Nath Bose. Janaki Nath Bose, I'm sure all of you know who Janaki Nath Bose is. And they used to sit together and eat, have peanuts and talk and there's a pond, there's a lake right in front of, pond rather, it's not a lake, right in front of NETAJI Bhavan, where the museum has been created, where they used to live at that time. And that is how the whole idea started off. And Bhagwati Charan Panigrahi, my grandmother's chacha, this particular place which we operate from in Pithapur, he was a very close associate of NETAJI. And just like we have the NETAJI mystery, we have another mystery in Orissa which very few people know about. That is Bhagwati Charan Panigrahi's mystery. He was arrested by British police in 1943, in the first or second of 1943. And he had been arrested and he was being interrogated by the British police to find out about the whereabouts of NETAJI, or what NETAJI is doing, or where he is, and on his whole blueprint of whatever. And he did not divulge anything. On 21st of October 1943, NETAJI announced or proclaimed the first independent government of India. Azad Hind Sarkar was formed in Singapore on 21st of October 1943. At that time we never had mobile phones and the communication wasn't that fast. So 22nd, BBC announced that the Azad Hind Sarkar had been formed. And the Viceroy was there in Shimla. From Shimla he called up the collector in Orissa and told him that you had arrested certain revolutionaries. So what happened? Why didn't they tell you? Why didn't we get to know about this thing? Where did we lapse with our intelligence? And that person gave an order to the Thanedar in Cuttack, and Bhagwati Charan Panigrahi on the night of 22nd October 1943 was beaten up. His nails had been pulled out. He had marks on his body. He was beaten and he was murdered. And next morning his body was returned to the family. And the post-mortem report till date reads death due to unknown cause. I don't understand how can anybody die with no cause. There has to be some cause. But because it was British police, because the collector was British, so they announced it as death due to unknown cause. And till date it's a mystery. Because the gentleman who had bashed him up, who had tortured him in the lockup, in the police custody, later on joined the police forces. He got a President's Medal also. And much later he divulged that this is exactly what had happened. Much later in his biography he is mentioned. So many people have given their balidan in several parts of India and outside. And their names are not even known. Nobody even recognizes them. It was Srimati Nandini Satpathy, when she became the minister, INB Minister of India in 1966. And she became a Rajya Sabha MP in 1962. 1964, the first time the issue of NETAJI files in the Rajya Sabha of India was picked up at that time by her. And she wanted to give the due respect to NETAJI. It's an unfortunate thing that INA veterans never got a freedom fighter's status till 1968. The government of India never recognized them as freedom fighters and never recognized them, never gave them the due respect. It is 1968, the first time INA war memorial was built in Moirang, and the INA veterans were given the recognition of freedom fighters. And I'm very privileged and I'm very fortunate that my grandmother, Srimati Nandini Satpathy, was the core force in getting this thing done at that time. The war memorial in Moirang, not many people know. Possibly out here you would know because you would have heard from your family, from your ancestors, everybody would have spoken about this. Moirang is the place which is the last war of independence. After that, mutinies have happened in India, but the last war of independence was held in Moirang. And that is where the significance of the INA memorial, which was a replica of what was blown off by Mountbatten in Singapore, the original replica, that a miniature of it was put up in Moirang. And the date which was chosen was 21st of October 1968. It had a significance. I have a theory. We are here to celebrate India's Independence Day. Now if I ask you, which is the Independence Day of America? Can anybody tell me? 4th July. Everybody knows that 4th of July is the Independence Day of America. But to your surprise, 4th of July is not the day when the Britishers left America. 4th of July is not the date where there was a treaty signed by Americans with the British. Now how did 4th of July come in? Or why did they choose on 4th of July? Anyone? Because it is called the Declaration of Independence Day. They decided that we'll be free. And that is the reason America celebrates 4th of July. America is a strong country. India is also a strong country. It's been a long-standing demand for our part, from many of us from the movement, that our declaration of Independence Day is 21st of October. That is the day where the declaration, or the first Sarkar of Akhand Bharat was created. So our declaration of Independence Day is 21st of October. And what happened on 15th of August? A lot of water has passed under the bridge, but we must remember that the head of our country on 15th of August 1943 was a British symbol, Lord Mountbatten. He was the Viceroy of India on 15th of August 1947. The Indian Army had British people till 52, till 53, till 55 also. They were in the Indian Army, in the Indian Air Force, there were Britishers who were there. So anybody who says that we got our independence on 15th of August is, I don't know, I don't even have a word to say. It's like just an eyewash. There's no way we should be doing that. Another most important thing which we've been advocating for, 15th of August, our country was divided into many parts, like West Pakistan, East Pakistan, and on every border, whether it is Manipur, whether it is Bengal, whether it is Orissa, whether it is in the northeast, or if you see the north part of India, the Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, any house you go to, you will find people telling you stories that our parents were there in Pakistan and they came to India with nothing. They were there, we had a huge koti, we had businesses, things and all, but we had to run away from there. So many people were murdered. So many people died. So many families, so many women, there was so much of torture. How can we celebrate that date? And how can we say Happy Independence Day? How can we say that it's a happy day? Isn't it cruel on our part? Isn't it, a disrespect to all those people who have given their lives? That is the reason we've been advocating, we've been saying that 15th of August Okay, you want to celebrate something on 15th of August, perfectly fine. You could celebrate it because it's been a process in our country. But 21st of October should get its due recognition. It's very important. And whatever has happened of late with Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji taking charge in India, the concentration or tipping points on NETAJi have happened. For example, Anuji is here, we were all a part of the declassification of NETAJi files. Of course, initially it was in Bengal, the Chief Minister, who's currently also the Chief Minister in 2015, September, she's the one who declassified 64 files, 64 NETAJi files. And to our surprise, out of those 64 files, one file was there where there was just a cover and there was nothing inside. It's a classified file, nobody's supposed to see it, nobody's supposed to read it, and only a cover is there and no document inside. So it was quite a surprising thing. And later on, when we found the traces of those files in other files, the numbering of those files, we found out that it's a file which contains information about Orissa, because the intelligence headquarters of was not there in Orissa, it was there in Calcutta. So it is a file from Cuttack to Balesur to Calcutta. That is the chain we found out. So there are certain people in Orissa who backstabbed NETAJi. And these files in current times, because of political reasons, have not been made public because certain political dividends are there on those names. And that's the reason these files have been again put back. And all the files still haven't been declassified. So that is one thing. Narendra Modi ji did declassify certain files, and it was a big show in National Archives, and a lot of people went there. It was a big news. But to our unfortunate situation that many files still remain classified and the whole truth is still not out and open. After that, 21st of October was given recognition. The first time it got recognition was when INA Sarkar, or INA Azadin Sarkar got into its 25th year, that was in 1968. Then subsequently, in over a period of time, small events were done. But 2018, 21st of October, Narendra Modi ji did, had a big event in Red Fort, Delhi's Red Fort, where actually the whole INA was supposed to march to, and that is where they had to finish their, the coup, or the army was supposed to march into Red Fort and take over Red Fort. So after many years, this thing was possible. And we are very thankful to Shri Narendra Modi ji to have taken out all these steps and to have done all these things. After that, there was a statue put up right in the center of Delhi, main hub of Delhi. And symbolically, that statue was removed in 1968. There was a statue of King George V. His statue was removed in 1968. And to my good fortune, there are 3 signatures, 3 initials put up for the removal of those statues, which we later on got the documents. One is IG, which is Indira Gandhi. She was the Prime Minister at that time. One is PNH, that is PN Haksar, who was one of the secretaries to Indiraji. And the third one is NS, which is Nandini Satpathy, because she was the minister attached to Prime Minister at that time. In 68 it was removed, and it was decided that NETAJi's statue would be put on. But then certain people from Gujarat, certain people from other parts of the country started demanding that there should be a statue of Mahatma Gandhi ji put up there. And then because of that commotion and the tug of war, whether Gandhi is bigger or NETAJi is bigger or who's to be given due respect, they brushed it under the carpet and they didn't take any decision because it was too controversial. Thankfully, Shri Narendra Modi ji took that decision and decided that yes, we will put in NETAJi's statue out there. I still remember the first day Narendra Modi ji put out a tweet that the statue will be inaugurated, and he put out a photograph of the statue. I called up the PMO and I told them that statue has not been made till date. This is only a prototype. So they thought the statue has been made and it's already been put up there. So fortunately, after some time, Narendra Modi ji in his tweet put up another image of a hologram put up out there showing that this is NETAJi, and after some time it will be put up. So that was a little goof up by PMO at that time, but then it was well covered. And then subsequently a statue was put up. It's not just a statue. It's the significance of NETAJi, the significance of INA, the significance of this school of thought getting its due recognition. That is the most important part. So, a lot of work still needs to be done on NETAJi, and the movement is still on. And NETAJi is the only global leader who has a date of birth, but there is no defined date of death. So he is immortal as a leader. He is immortal as one of the global leaders. And I was talking to Shri Chawla ji a little while ago. It is not just the liberation of India. NETAJi and INA ignited the entire effort or the entire process of liberating Asia. Several countries during that time got their independence because they took a lead from NETAJi and from INA. So what INA and NETAJi did is phenomenal and it's humongous. And all of us need to be extremely proud that we are connected to that particular movement. And all of us need to combine, we need to put in our forces together and make sure that this movement about NETAJi, about him getting his due recognition and about the INA getting its due recognition in history, in detail, all of us need to put in our hands together and stay together with this, because this is an essential thing. Because if we forget our history, we are destined to doom our future, because where you come from actually guides you to where you're going. It's very, very important. So never ever forget your history, and the correct history, not hearsay history, but the correct history. And all of you are fortunate that you're a part of the families of INA, so I'm sure absolute authentic information is there with all of you. And this needs to spread out. This needs to go out to many other people for everybody else to understand what this small army did and how great an achievement they have to their, in their fold. It's very important. Most importantly, NETAJi never wanted himself to be, he was never in forefront of certain things. He wanted to do things. He had a vision for the country. He had a vision, and that vision was guided by his spiritual gurus. And spirituality is the eventual truth. I'm not talking about religion. One can practice any religion. There is a huge difference between spirituality and religion. One can practice any religion. One can is free to believe in any religion, but spirituality is something which is way above. And that is where Netaji started from. His core was spiritualism. Like in Azad and Fauj, I'm sure all of you would be knowing about this thing. When people used to greet each other, somebody would say Ram Ram, somebody would say Sat Sri Akal, somebody would say good morning, somebody would say Namaskar, whatever, in their own language or in their own religion or whatever. So he decided, and the core decided, that there will be one slogan for Azad Hind, and that is Jai Hind. That unites everybody. And that is the beauty of this country, that with all plurality, with all religions, with all differences, when it comes to the land, when it comes to its origin, everybody is together. You might have left, you might not be living in India, but your heart very much stays in India. You might have businesses, you might have families, but then your heart is very much in India. And that is the beauty of this country. And that is purely because of the spiritual inclination of this country. The land I come from, Orissa, that's been a hub of intellectual teachings. Everybody talks about Buddhism. This country has a lot of people who believe in Buddhism, who practice Buddhism. But many people don't know that Ashoka, King Ashoka, who came to Orissa to take over Orissa. He saw the bloodshed and he changed from Chandashok to Dharmashok. And that is exactly how he started with the preachings of Buddhism, so that he sent his son to Sri Lanka, he sent his daughter to other parts of the world, and that's how Buddhism started moving. So it's not the religion, it's spirituality, and that is where the whole essence lies in. It's very important for us to recognize each and every INA veteran. We have a long-standing demand with the government of India that the INA memorial needs to be built up, needs to be put up in Delhi. And each name, which many people don't even know, they've just vanished, they just evaporated in history. Each name needs to be engraved out there, and each one needs to be recognized by the nation. Because their effort, their balidan, their struggle, their sacrifice of the families has been humongous. And it will be a shame on every Indian if in case this recognition, this small little token recognition also cannot be given to these heroes. They are the true heroes. And today, we're so happy, I'm so glad that I'm here in Thailand talking to all of you. My friend Anuj is here, he'll be giving his talk. He has a very interesting talk on NETAJi, on the mystery, on other parts of NETAJi which he'll be talking on. So I won't take much of your time, but anybody who wants to get connected to this movement, nowadays social media, everybody has in their hand Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, email, everything is there with everybody. So I would request each one of you to stay connected and at least make one trip to Cuttack, to the birthplace of Netaji, where all this thing started off. Not his biological birthplace, but the school of thought, the birthplace of his school of thought. So you will get to know a lot of other things and how things have happened there. So please do visit Cuttack sometime, and whenever you're coming, our office is there. We have a battery of people who will be supporting you, and people from your organization are also connected with Cuttack. They can be of huge help. So this is an invitation and this is a request that you stay connected and make sure that Netaji gets his due respect, not only in India but globally. Jai Hind. Very, very thank you and God bless all of you.